They say betting on the NFL is supposed to be hard. Well, coming off a 22-6 run on props and best bets, we have been on absolute fire in the National Football League. Welcome to another week of NFL Week 15 Best Bets and Picks episode. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the Degen Docs. What is up, folks? NFL Week 15 fantasy playoffs started. Real playoffs right around the corner. The race is heating up, and the betting opportunities are aplenty here down the stretch. What is up, folks? I'm one of your hosts here, the Degen Doc, and more importantly, I am joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, aka Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Well, I'm doing well, but I just don't know who to be pissed off more at.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Is it Pete Carroll or is it the fucking ref that
Oh, wow.
threw the defensive delay of game that put the Raiders in field goal position?
We're not even we made it maybe a minute in, and yes,
I'm throwing somebody in a locker. I'm throwing both of them.
Yes.
Throw them in there, lock it.
We did not do
cram them both into one of those small ass half lockers that we used to see in elementary school.
Look, we did not do a lot of losing last week. There was only 3 losses on our card, but that is 3 out of 14. And both, I think we have a little bit of gripe, but I would definitely say anybody who had Denver minus the 7.5, or the under in that game.
I think that's the worst beat of my betting career.
That's tough. I didn't actually see it live. I assumed you had already won. I already marked it green on the sheet, and then you texted me, and I was like, whoa.
I think they were up 17 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, and they go down, score a touchdown. Denver gets the ball back, does nothing with it. Lets 30 seconds go off the clock. Raiders get the ball back, start to drive down the field. There's 3 seconds left, and some bonehead ref flag defensive delay of game, puts them in field goal position. And then Pete Carroll, why the hell are we kicking a field goal with 2 seconds down or 2 seconds left being down 10? That makes no sense.
Gonna get the onside kickback, man. It's brutal, but it's Vegas, man. Of course, Vegas would have the sketchiest play on the board. But hey, folks, I promise we won't be just bitching the whole time. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the NFL Week 15 Locks and Props show here. Just a little bit of a show structure, expectation management up top here. If it's your first time joining us, cheers to you. And if you've been rocking with us all year, double cheers to you. Thanks for supporting us here at the Degen Docs. All right, the way this is going to work is we'll do a little bit of banter up top, just a couple things we got to get to, including a 44-year-old back in the NFL. But then we'll go into our props of the week. We will each give out 3 props for the NFL. We're coming off back-to-back 5-1 combined props. One of us swept the board. One of us was 2-1 for a back-to-back week. On absolute fire there. Then we'll do our best bets, or we like to call around here our docs prescriptions. Bets we feel so good about as healthcare professionals, we are prescribing them to you. Also on a massive, massive run there. And then a little bit of a Degen parlay, both over 25-1 bets this week. And then finally a Thursday night football preview between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, man, let's get into some of these takeaways. And we got to talk about this.
Before you do that, yes, we both had one hell of a Sunday going, 2-1, 3-1, 3-0, 3-1. I mean, we had a damn good week, but we are starting to get some of these futures coming in as well.
Oh, okay.
I think we were both on the Minnesota under 9.5 wins coming into the season. With basically rookie quarterback 9, as he is now known. That came in nicely. And then I think we were both on Mark Andrews over touchdowns as well.
One of our best bets. Yeah, that cashed a couple weeks ago.
That one cashed a couple weeks ago. I think Higgins over touchdowns just hit this past week. So
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a, hey, remember way back when in August when we were doing the division previews, some of those are starting to come in nicely.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe next week we will do a little bit of a rapid fire recap, because we've had a bunch of these come in already. I know I was heavily on the Bears, and they already hit their season win total.
Easy,
so a couple of these have definitely paid out. So I like that. All right, let's get to this week here. And talking about this week, there's a man who is returning, the man who is best known for producing a significant amount of offspring.
and is what, well, as of yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, was in the basically semifinals for the NFL Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah, he was on the doorstep, but he just said it is not his time. That is Sleepy Joe Phillip Rivers here. I saw this little graphic meme for one of the little projections. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, Phillip Rivers is back at 44 years old. He has not played since the 2020 season, 5 years removed from his last snap. Yeah, as Derek alluded to, once you hit that 5-year mark, you're eligible for the Hall of Fame. He was right there. It looks like he's okay with resetting his number, because he was signed. And Daniel Jones, Achilles tear. Anthony Richardson, orbital fracture around the eye socket, still on the IR. Riley Leonard has a PCL strain, which typically is a week-to-week, like 2 to 3 week type thing.
Yeah, surprisingly, he's practicing
today, which is a bit of surprise. But yeah, Phillip Rivers officially signed to the Indianapolis Colts at age 44. What are your thoughts there?
I think it's a great story. I don't know if I would necessarily put any money on any overs for Phillip Rivers. But at the end of the day, I mean, Indy, they do have a lot of pieces on that offense. Their offensive line is pretty solid. Their rookie tight end, Tyler Warren, I mean, we were way off on that stand front. He's been really solid. They got some wide receivers, and they probably have a top 3 back in the league. So, I mean, for Indy's sake, I guess why not? But at the end of the day, I don't know if this reeling Colts team is necessarily going to do anything, especially with the opponents that they have left on their schedule.
Well, yeah, you're going to Seattle to play arguably the best defense, coming off a team that just turnover, Seattle, opportunistic.
Denver, Niners, and the Texans. I think all of them are in like the top 12 defensively.
I would say, but what? Denver, Texans, and Seattle probably top three of the top 5, right?
I think Seattle is a little bit lower. I think they're like 7, 7 or 8. But yeah, the other 2 I believe are 1 and 2, and then I think the Niners are like sitting there at 12. So
yeah. All right, and so we'll see how Denver, that situation plays out. Also, it seems that nobody wants to win the NFC South or the NFC East. The Eagles continue their slide and collapse like we saw in 2023. The Cowgirls can't go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. Right. And then in the South, you got the Bucs blowing games left and right. Panthers are right there. I mean, the Falcons and the Saints are basically eliminated.
They're going to New Orleans, who just knocked off the Bucs this past weekend. So we'll see how
that goes. Looking a little frisky. Right. So ultimately, right now, let's go to 3, because offline you mentioned the AFC North really quick. NFC South, NFC East, AFC North. Who wins it?
I still have faith in the Bucs. I think they're getting healthier to this point. Okay. Mike Evans, I think he's going to be back this week. Tristan Wirfs as well. But defensively, they're still a train wreck. But I do think they figured it out. I think you still got to go with the Eagles at this point. I mean, the Giants and Commanders are already out of it. The Cowboys, I think they just put themselves in too big of a hole. And then I think ultimately, last week was a win-win for the Gipper, kind of a thing for the Steelers over there in Baltimore. And historically, for whatever reason, those 2 teams just split. So I think it really comes down to those other 3 games with Baltimore and the Steelers. I think the Steelers have the easier schedule of the 2 of them, but they tend to play down to their competition at times. So we'll see.
Huge week for the AFC North there. Yeah, I will go Bucs. I'll give me the Cowgirls, because I do think that Philly loses to Buffalo at Buffalo, And
Sure.
2, I think they lose one, if not both games to the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels comes back and has a little revenge on his mind.
Okay.
Cowboys schedule is ridiculously easy, and I would love to see it. So a little bit of
Well,
hatred in
and
in
that's
that
that's
pick.
the NFC East for you. You can't have
Never
the winner
repeated.
place.
It's
That's
been
right.
20 plus years since a repeat champion. So weird magic is at work there. And then the Steelers. Yeah, I do think the Steelers easier schedule. Can't trust the Ravens. All right. Bye weeks. We don't have anybody. We don't have them. They're
We're done.
done. NFL bye weeks. So
Finally.
we get a full slate to bet on. So yay us. We'll do an official, really quick recap. I know we've been talking about it, but look, Thursday night, unfortunately,
Yeah.
this is our third time not being profitable on a Thursday night game. So it is a rare occurrence, but yep, was not the best on Thursday, but we made up for it on the rest of the week. Derek 3-0 on his props, myself 2-1. So congrats to you on the sweep. 5-1 collectively, and then on the locks, both 3-1, 3-1. I had the Bears, the one that did not hit, which obviously interception in the end zone. That game was back and forth, and then we already talked about your brutal beat with the Denver there. So very close to some sweeps, but back-to-back weeks of 11-3 overall and 22-6 on props and best bets the last 2 shows. Crushing it on that pace. So just wanted to a little pat on the back. Job's not done. We're going to work this week, starting the week 1-0. That's all we're trying to do. But hey, man, free show. All you got to do is like and subscribe. That's all we ask.
That's right.
All right, enough of that touting mess. Let's get to these props of the week here. My friend, you are up first. What is your first NFL prop of week 15?
Yeah. Last week I was all 3 of mine were kind of Debbie Downer props. I got 3 absolute studs that I think are going to have some pretty good games this Sunday. The first one's going to be Puka Nacua. And I'm going to take his over 94.5 receiving yards. I know it's a massive number, but the Lions corner situation is I believe still a mess. They just gave up a boatload of yards to the Cowboys this past Thursday. And Puka he's an absolute stud at the end of the day. He's hit this number in 2 of the last 3 weeks. And I think that he's still kind of their deep threat opposite Devontae Adams there. So give me Puka Nakua's over 94.5 receiving yards in what I think is going to be a really close game. I can't wait to watch that one. But I think there are going to be points scored. So give me Nakua's over.
Game of the week potential there with the Detroit heading up to LA. As you mentioned, likely no Kirby Joseph. We'll see. He's kind of tried to come back, had a setback. Definitely no Brian Branch, who's out for the year. Terrion Arnold out for the year. I know they picked up some guys, but the Legion of whom Puka Nacua is a big test there. All right, for myself, I'm going to go DeAndre Swift over 12.5 rushing attempts, -103 over on DK. So getting a nice price here. Look, he's only not hit this number in 3 games this season. He is 4 out of his last 5. So I know, look, using the season long, you're going to tell me that Kyle Monangai is coming on, which is great. I was a big Kyle Monangai fan in the offseason. Have some of those bags in best ball are coming through for me. But they're still making sure that Swift is involved. It is not a one-man show. They both get plenty of carries here. Again, he's hit this number. He's at 13, 21, 8, 18, and 13. So 4 out of the last 5. I think the other thing here is game script. You've got a Cleveland Browns team that's heading up to Chicago. It's going to be 11 degrees. It's going to be fair. That ball is going to feel like a rock. It's going to be a situation where both teams are going to want to run the ball. And this Cleveland defense outside of Cleveland is more susceptible. So I think you can get him on the ground game. So I think Swift has a busy day. So give me his over 12.5 rushing attempts, -103 over at DK. What do you got next for us?
Yeah, let's switch over to the Niners-Titans game. Give me Christian McCaffrey to go over 73.5 rushing yards. Surprisingly pretty low, but when you look at how the Titans have played over the last couple of weeks, they've only given up 30 and 45. So I think we're getting a little bit of a lower number for Christian McCaffrey because they've been playing better over the last couple of weeks. Now, they still give up about 100 yards on average across the season to opposing running backs. I think Christian McCaffrey is obviously an absolute stud. He's hit this in 3 of the last 5, 2 of the last 3. The only one of which in the last 5, he only got 12 carries against the Rams, where they're just getting blown out. So had to switch over to the passing game with that one. But yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey has himself a little bit of a day, a little bit of a bounce back after facing that Cleveland defense in Cleveland last week. So give me Christian McCaffrey over 73.5.
Yeah, they're coming off a bye, nice, well and rested, and I'll get to that game here because I like that for a number of reasons. All right, for myself, I'm taking another running back here, and his over. Tyrone Tracy over 49.5 rush yards, minus 109 over at DraftKings. Look, once Brian Dable got fired, they are playing the Commanders, which are the third worst rushing defense in the NFL. But once Dable got fired, Mike Kafka has made a very clear point to stick to the run. Whether they're down, whether they're up, he is running the ball, right? So, we look at his last 4 games here: 14 for 71, 19 for 88, 20 for 62. And then last week, before the bye, 10 for 36. Well, he didn't hit that because he went out with a hip injury. Thankfully, they said it was not a big deal. He fully practiced today on Wednesday, which is a great sign. Now, I understand Singletary is going to get some work too, but again, This is a very, very bad defense in Washington. They basically quit. Zach Ertz is out for the year. Jaden Daniels is out for this one, so it's another Marcus Mariota game. Yep. I think that the Giants, they still got some young guys. They're not the retirement home of the Commanders. And I think Kafka's just going to run the ball a ton at home in some cold weather. So give me Tyrone Tracy over the 49.5. I think it's a low number there, partially due to the split backfield, partially due to the injury concerns. But I'm diving right in, baby. Tracy comes back and has a nice day.
I like it.
What's the last one for us?
The last one is Superman himself, and that's Josh Allen, man. I'm taking his over 35.5 rushing yards at minus 110. He's hit this in 2 of the last 3 weeks, 3 of the last 4, the last 2 weeks, 3 of the last 4. And I think it's just comes down to this. I mean, the Patriots rush defense is really solid against the running back, but when they face quarterbacks that use their legs fairly frequently, and they've only seen that a couple of times this season, they're very susceptible to rushing quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Allen did it way back in week 5, rushing for 53 yards, well over this 35. Yeah. And then I think it was Justin Fields' last start way back in week 11, he rushed for 67 yards. The rest of the season, they really haven't faced any true rushing or dual threat quarterbacks. So yeah, give me Josh Allen's over 35.5 rushing yards at minus 110.
Yeah, another one I really like. I was thinking of too. Prime time, right? I mean, it's a big spot. Division's on the line.
Yep.
The veteran versus the young buck. He's gonna got something to prove, and we saw it last week when he had to. He made it. He got it done.
There's been too many comparisons to Drake May and Josh Allen for Josh Allen to just not go out and ball.
Yeah, like you said, he's going to put the cape on and go get care of it. So I like that play. All right, let's go. For me, I will take an under because they've been cashing for us repeatedly.
Yeah.
Back to the well here. Bryce Young, under 201 passing yards, minus 113 over on DK. Look, New Orleans is quietly a top 10. I think they're like the number 7 or 8 pass defense in the NFL. They are no joke. And, Bryce Young is not really the guy that you want to kind of take advantage of that. Right. That you can run on the Saints. Even the Bucs were able to do that. I know the weather, but, Baker clearly went under by almost 100 yards from his prop last week. Last time these two teams played, Bryce Young, 17 for 25 for 124 yards. So he cleared this by almost 70 yards there. Yep. He would have hit under this number in his last he would have broke it last game, but before that it would have been only once out of the last 10. So I mean, he's really cleared these numbers. Like the Panthers with their success comes from the running game. No doubt. So big game in the division. They need this win. I think they're going to lean on the running game. And again, quietly, New Orleans has a top pass defense. I think the number is way too high. I expect it to come down during the week when people it. So jump on this one now. Typically, that is what you will see. So,
No,
as a quick
I'm definitely gonna have to jump on that one as I'm gonna be down in the Big Easy this weekend. Not going to the
There
game,
you go.
sadly, but yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on that wagon so that I can, be supportive of all the Saints fans that'll be around.
There you go. Absolutely. Hey, I mean, it's the ethical thing to do. You gotta,
Correct.
assimilate to the
I have to
culture,
support
brother.
somehow.
Yeah. So, quick recap on the props. Again, been on an absolute heater, 10-2 run over the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
For our Professor Locks there, Derek Scott, Puka Nacua over 94.5 receiving yards against the Lions. Christian McCaffrey over 73.5 rushing yards there. And Josh Allen over 35.5 rush yards against the Patriots. Then I've got DeAndre Swift over 12.5 rush attempts, minus 103 at home against Cleveland Browns. You got Tyrone Tracy at home as well, over 49.5 rush yards, minus 109 against the terrible Washington Commanders defense. And then Bryce Young, under 201 passing yards on the road, against this New Orleans defense that is quietly a top 10 unit in the NFL. Been on a heater, looking to continue the heater. We've also been on a heater with our best bets, and that is what we are moving to now. What we like to call around here, Doc's prescriptions, because we feel so good about them. We are prescribing these bets to you. So I will let you kick us off, my friend. Where are you taking us first?
Let's talk about the Houston Texans. The Texans play the Cardinals at home, and I think this is the easiest one on the board. It's a massive number at 9.5, and for whatever reason, it seems like there's a lot of big numbers this week. But Houston's defense is crazy, and they're going up against an Arizona Cardinals team that is beat up in every single position. They have Marv coming off of the injury most likely, but at the same time, they're missing both of their offensive tackles. They still don't have much of a running game with Bam Knight there. I don't trust Jacoby Brissett, so give me the Houston Texans, who I think are coming into shape. They've won each of the last 5 games. The Cardinals are on a 5 games losing streak. Give me the Houston Texans at minus 9.5.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is the right side. I say unfortunately because we were on opposite sides. I give out Houston's under 9.5 wins, and I believe you give out their over there. They after a very bad start, they have
I can't remember if I gave out their over or for them just to win the division. I can't remember, but yeah, I was much higher on them than you were.
Yes, but it looked like that thing was in the bag, and now they've turned it around. Davis Mills, of all people, keeping the ship afloat, and obviously that defense. No Paris Johnson at left tackle is huge. No Trey Benson, like you mentioned. So I think that especially going against arguably the best defensive line, missing your Pro Bowl left tackle, not a situation you want to be in. For myself, first one on the docket. Let's go with the home dog here, a home dog that's not lost at home. And that is the Denver Broncos, plus 2.5. They've got the Green Bay Packers coming to town. Look, I get it. The Packers, everyone's got them crazy in their power rankings, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
But this Denver Broncos team, it seems they just match their level of competition. They have 2 losses on the year that came within the first 3 weeks. And it's a 1-point loss at the Colts and a 3-point loss at the Chargers. So in only 1 game this season where they have not have covered this small 2.5 spread there as dogs.
And I believe both of those were on walk-off field goals.
Yes. Yeah. I know the Indianapolis one was a leverage call, which was questionable. Right. And then, Dicker, the kicker, got Denver there. But isn't a situation where also Green Bay, I understand they're at the top of everyone's power rankings. They've done really well against the division. But when you look at games outside of the division, this is an out-of-conference AFC game. So you question the importance as far as, long-term playoff race, stuff like that. It starts a road trip. They're just coming off a massive victory against the Bears. There's a bit of a pour the Gatorade type game. There was shit talking going on between the coaches. That was a huge game in the division. Now they got to go to Denver to take on a Broncos defense that is fully healthy. Yeah, give me the Broncos at home. They are undefeated, and I think the Packers are a bit susceptible. They have both a loss to the Cleveland Browns and a tie to the Dallas Cowgirls on the road this season. So I think they're susceptible on the road. So give me the Broncos +2.5.
Yeah, that's my second lock of the week as well, as the Denver Broncos and the points. I think I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but the Broncos just playing a lot of close games. And if we're getting points where, the Broncos just find ways to win basically every single week, I'll take that. So give me the Broncos and the points as well.
Yeah. All right. Now, the next one I've got here, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very rare opportunity here. We have a chance to fade the Tennessee Titans coming off of a win.
It's true.
We've only had one other opportunity to do it this year, where they went and looked like they maybe turned some things around, winning a miracle game at Arizona, and then they had a 10-point loss to an awful Las Vegas Raiders team. So,
and the other team's coming off of a bye.
Yes, exactly. Give me the San Francisco 49ers -12.5. As you said, the rest disparity coming off a bye. This is also a back-to-back road spot for Tennessee. I mean, you want to talk about dumping the Gatorade. Tennessee dumped every liquid they had. I was watching that game. I had Tennessee as one of my locks. I also had them on the money line, came through. There was a play where they caused a fumble, I believe, on Dylan Sampson. And when the defense recovered it, the entire defense went and did the Shedeur Sanders, celebration. Shedeur didn't even have anything to do with the turnover, but that was a massive game. The Cam Ward versus Shedeur game, you could tell it was personal. And now they're going to go out West Coast and get their ass kicked. This is a bad travel spot. This is a bad team. And the 49ers are squarely in the playoff race. They still have the division on their mind. And this is a game that they have to come out here and smash. And I think that the 49ers are a team fully capable of doing that. I love the McCaffrey angle of him going off there. They just, Cam Ward still does not look great. I think they're going to struggle to run the ball like they have all year. Cam Ward's going to have some very bad turnovers. And ultimately, look, what happened last time the 49ers played the Cleveland Browns, a bad team, 26-8. They beat the Cardinals 20-9, and they beat the Arizona Cardinals by 21. So they've been kind of just crushing bad teams of late, and this is what I see happening. So give me San Francisco -12.5.
Yeah. So talking about futures earlier, this is a team that I was not really on each of the last couple of years, and you just find ways to remind me. But I've been on them each of the last couple of weeks. I'm going back to the well. Give me the Rams to cover the spread against the Detroit Lions at home. I think the Lions are susceptible, and they kind of had a dumping of the Gatorade game this past Thursday against the Cowgirls, and for whatever reason, the Lions just haven't been consistently offensively or defensively, it seems like. On the other hand, the Rams have been extremely consistent offensively and defensively. I mean, their defensive line is nasty. I think that they are able to get after Jared Goff. And like I said earlier, I don't trust the Detroit secondary at all, especially going up against Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and the boys. So give me the Rams laying the 5.5 at home.
Yeah, look, you mean the 10-3 Rams, the number one division seed. Someone gave out to win the West. Someone gave out the number one seed.
I know. I can't remember who I picked to win the West. I think it was the Cardinals.
It's early. It's still early, but this is a huge game. I will stick with that game, but I will not be taking a side. I will be taking the under 55.5 there. It is the highest total on the board. I just see a situation where, this Rams defense is a really solid unit. And they do a good job at generating pressure, whether it's through the blitz or whether it's our front four. And if there's one way to rattle Jared Goff, it is generating pressure. Teams that have been able to get to him, he has had trouble. That interior offensive line does not have the push to push people around anymore in the run game, and they tend to struggle. When we look at their games against Philly, off the Jalen Phillips trade, only putting up 9 points. You look at the game against Green Bay, they put up 24 in one game and 13 in the other, particularly 13 on the road there. Going up against the Chiefs, they've only put up 17 on the road. So, yes, they can put up 1,000,000 points against the bad teams of the NFL, but this is not a bad team. This is a solid Rams defense. And going the other way, when we look, go ahead.
Just to your point, as far as their defense goes, I mean, you mentioned it as far as flustering Jared Goff and disrupting the passing game. They're only giving up around 79 yards from a rushing standpoint as well to the running back. So, besides the Panthers game where they gave up around 140 yards, they really shut down the running backs as well.
Yeah, and I think that, going the other way, the back end is a little bit beat up. They're susceptible, but a couple things are at play here. One, Kelvin Shepherd has done a really good job with that back Legion of Whom unit because they're a bunch of no-name guys. They picked up some guys, but really what I think also is at play is that we've seen Sean McVay get very conservative in some of these bigger games when they have a lead. They beat Houston only 14-9 there. Seattle 21-19. They destroy the Bucs 34-7, which is also in the realm of possibility there. I think both these teams, they blow out bad teams. They make it look ugly. They score a bunch of points. But when I look at, the competitive games, the games with some actual good teams, a lot of these times they tend to go under there because it is it's a big game. The buttholes are a little bit tighter. You still have Matthew Stafford was a Detroit Lion for a long time. Like, we've seen Stafford get in trouble with some interceptions there. I think there's going to be a lot of juice. I also think everybody and their mother is going to be running to bet the over in this one because it just makes too much sense. So give me the under 55.5. What's your final play for the people?
Yeah, let's talk about my Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Massive game. But I mentioned the Steelers kind of having almost a dumping of the Gatorade type of a game against the Ravens this past week. I think they're still going to be locked in for this one, especially because their first round defensive tackle Derek Harmon, I believe, is going to be back, and it's been insane what he's been able to do. From a rush defense standpoint, it's night and day when he's in there versus when he's not typically. I think they're able to stop A-Chain and get some pressure on Tua. I think this could end up being an ugly Monday night game where Aaron Rodgers continues to look pretty good after last week's game, finding DK in some of his tight ends and Gainwell out of the backfield. I just don't know if Miami's going to be able to push the ball down the field enough against the Steelers secondary to keep this one close. So give me the Steelers laying the 3.5 at home on a Monday night game. And let's just remember, Mike Tomlin on Monday night, lock it in. I mean, he's a magic man come Monday Night Football. So
yeah, just not Thursday. Not Thursday. Big favorite.
Monday night, he's a stud. Thursday nights, no way.
Yeah, no, I love it. I need it to come through. Much like the Texans under, I gave out the Miami Dolphins under. It was one of my favorite plays of the year.
Yep.
That looked like it was very in hand, and then
I needed to for the Steelers division. So
yes, yeah, we need this. This is a big one. But checking the temperature, 20 degrees. That's a cold Tua game. Might get the wetsuit out. Typically not his strongest performances. Nope. I know Devon A-Chain went out with the rib injury. He said he just landed on the ball. Scans came back fine, but rib injuries can be tricky. There's sometimes hairline fractures that do kind of hide themselves. So one to watch.
They're painful anytime you move, those things are painful, let alone getting hit by TJ Watt and Derek Harmon and all the boys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yes, absolutely going to be rooting for the Lures there on Monday night. I will be taking us to Sunday night for my last best bet here. Give me the Minnesota Vikings heading to Dallas. I'm on the over 47.5 there. A lot of this is almost just the Cowboys are involved and they're at home. It's almost an auto play on the over, right? Cowboys, the last couple games at home, they've scored 31, 24. The Vikings, I know they've struggled on the road, but really it just comes down to Dallas's defense cannot stop anything. They've gotten better on the run, but the passing game, we saw Jared Goff and Amon-Ra on one leg and Jameson Williams, they lit him up. And
Right.
it's not going to get solved. Like, there is no really reinforcements coming. It's
Yep.
been the same thing. Quinn Williams has made them a little bit better, but 47.5 is a kind of actually a low total for a Dallas game.
No doubt.
When we look at Minnesota's defense on the road, their last couple of performances, they gave up 23 to Green Bay, 26 to Seattle. And then when you look up, the Cowboys defense got anybody competent.
Right.
Give it up 44 last week, 28 to the Chiefs, 21 to the Eagles, 27 to the Cardinals. I think that J.J. McCarthy's gotten a little bit more comfortable there. We saw him have a nice game. They put up, they won 31-0 against a bad defense last week.
Yep.
And the other thing is he also has the potential to turn the ball over. I think both these guys do. Is a very aggressive, live by the blitz, die by the blitz defense. So I could see both these quarterbacks and Dak and JJ having some turnovers and also having some success. It's an aggressive style of defense where it's either going to be a big play or one way or the other. And so I love that in that, Jerry's world, in the dome environment on Sunday night. So give me the over 47.5 for that one. Two teams that I don't think are very good, but are very high variance, and I expect this game to fly over the total there. All right, let's do a recap of these best bets for my man, Professor Locks. He's got the Houston Texans at home against the Cardinals, -9.5. He's got the Broncos at home as a small home dog there, +2.5. The Rams at home, -5.5 against the Lions, and then the Steelers at home against the very, very cold Miami Dolphins here. Let's hope. All right, for myself, I'm going to be also on the Broncos there as the home dog. I'm on the 49ers, -12.5, big favorites going against the Titans coming off a win. I'm also on the Lions and the Rams under 55.5, and the Vikings and Cowboys over 47.5 as my cat decides to make an appearance
Nova
today.
just wants to be a star.
Nova just wants to be a little bit of show me some screen time.
Right.
That's what it is. So, but all right, folks, now we're getting into the time where we get a little bit degenerate. It's our time for the Degen plays of the week. 2 plays over 25-1 this week. Where are you taking us?
Yeah, I got a little 2-legger, and I just need these guys to, one guy to basically repeat what he did last year, and one guy just to basically be himself. Joe Burrow over 350 passing yards. If you take it by itself, it's +750. If we look back at last year when the Bengals played the Ravens, Joe Burrow threw for 392 in the first matchup and 428 in the second matchup. He didn't play in the first matchup this week or this year, but yeah, Joe Burrow absolutely lights up Baltimore, and Baltimore's secondary has looked really susceptible pretty much the entire year. So give me Joe Burrow over 350 plus Justin Jefferson to have himself just an average Justin Jefferson day and go over 90 plus receiving yards. So, if you are saying that there's going to be some points in this Minnesota-Dallas game, Justin Jefferson is going to be involved in some fashion. So give me Justin Jefferson over 90, Joe Burrow over 350 for a nice little 37-25, 37-1.
There we go. Yeah, 37-25 there, over 37-1. For myself, I like where your head is at. I like it for my overplay there with the Justin Jefferson angle. I also like it for my DJ play. Give me J.J. McCarthy 3+ passing touchdowns.
Okay.
He just did this last week, and this is a
Justin Jefferson 70 yards down the sideline.
Love it, love it, love it. Deep shots, whatever way you want to give it to me, I will take it. And this is a Dallas defense that is awful. They are giving up some of the most pass touchdowns in the NFL. Not even good quarterbacks are having massive days. They're giving up on average over 250 yards through the air. And then, I think that Kevin O'Connell understands he wants J.J. McCarthy to get some confidence.
Sure.
That game was well out of hand, and they still had him throwing the ball, trying to get this offense humming. You still got Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor. Like, you have stud wide receivers. They just have to put it together. This is the perfect opportunity to do that. And then I'm going to pair that with a man who if I've never seen someone more due for a touchdown in my life, and that is Isaiah Likely. Anytime touchdown, plus 260 on its own. But I mean, between the fumble, I mean that was his fault. But against Cincinnati last game, he had a almost for sure touchdown that he decided to let go a little early. And then last week against your Steelers, my
almost
wife's
for
a Steelers
sure
fan.
touchdown.
Yeah, I'm glad you can say it as a Steelers fan. I just, they were very fortunate that the refs decided that he did not complete the process of a catch or whatever bullshit they gave.
Yeah.
Isaiah Likely, the Bengals are the worst team against the tight end. Give me J.J. McCarthy, 3+ passing touchdowns. Isaiah Likely, anytime touchdown for a nice, easy 26-1. That's over on Bet365 there. Okay, friends. We've given out a lot of plays, and we're not done just yet because we've got our Thursday night football preview. Again, historically, only non-profitable 3 weeks out of our 14. So, 11-3 on Thursday night as well? Sure. A lot of 11-3s lately. We'll take that. We've got an NFC South matchup. This is huge. I mean, the Bucs really need this. The Falcons would love to ruin the Bucs' playoff opportunity. You've got the Atlanta Falcons catching 4.5 points on the road in Tampa Bay here against, Atlanta 4-9, Tampa Bay Bucs 7-6. They're laying 4.5. Bucs are minus 245 on the money line as the home favorite. The Atlanta Falcons are plus 200 road dogs there. Over under sitting at 45.5. This is at Raymond James Stadium there. Thursday night should be about 56, no clouds, beautiful weather in Tampa. As always, I will go through the injuries, and then Derek will start us off with some initial analysis here. For the Falcons, pretty easy. No Drake London, still not at practice. I don't care what Raheem Morris had to say about day-to-day. PCL strains are going to be out at least 2, if not 3+ weeks. They're very hard to rehab. Ricky Pearsall, Drake London, Puka was dealing with it last year. They are tough. He's not even practiced yet, so he's going to be out for Thursday. They have 3 starters questionable. All of them are limited in practice every day this week. That tells me it leans more to probable that they should play, but you want to pay attention. Tight end Kyle Pitts with the knee injury. Defensive tackle David Onyemata with a foot injury, and Jalen Walker with a quad injury. Again, practice all week, but just limited, so they are questionable. For the Bucs, a little bit more complicated. Starting linebacker Servassier Dennis, one of our pick guys, he is out for this game. A couple guys that are doubtful didn't practice all week. Tight end Cade Otten and safety Tyke Smith, who's been a stud for them out of Georgia. And then 2 guys that are questionable, but they were activated off the IR, which tells me that they are likely to play. And that is wide receiver Mike Evans coming back from that collarbone and wide receiver Jalen McMillan coming back from a neck injury. And then guys that are off the injury report and should be good to go, left tackle Tristan Wirfs and outside linebacker Hassan Reddick. They also did sign Jason Pierre-Paul to add to their edge room there. So him and his, 8.5 fingers, see what they can do there. Where are we going in this one? What are you thinking between the Bucs and the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, if we look back at this past year, both of these games were really, really close. Earlier on in the season, Tampa Bay, I believe, got the better of Atlanta.
Yeah, 3-point victory, 3-point road victory.
Right. I mean,
I think Younghoe Koo, one of his first missed kicks or whatever.
Correct. That sounds right. That sounds right. But yeah, I mean, all 3 of these games have really come down to the wire. I think it's finally time for Tampa Bay to get things rocking and rolling, especially after they lost a division matchup this past week. I think Tampa's offense is getting a hell of a lot healthier with Wirfs coming back, Mike Evans coming back, Jalen McMillan probably coming back, which can only help Baker. Baker's been basically out there by himself for the majority of the last month. So, yeah, give me Tampa Bay laying the 4.5 at home. I think that this is one of those games where like they know that this is basically they have to win this to win the division. So yeah, give me the Tampa Bay Bucs at minus 4.5.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I'm also on the Bucs minus 4.5, minus 105 over on DraftKings there. Look, they need it, but they're also getting healthier. And this Atlanta team, I mean, they're basically left for dead. They don't have a lot to play for. Their best wide receivers out. Their starting quarterbacks out. You got the corpse of Kirk Cousins. I don't see, Raheem Morris, not a great coach. Don't see them being very prepared for this game. I understand it's a division rivalry, but Wirfs being back, getting back Mike Evans is going to be huge for Baker in that passing offense to convert some of those field goal opportunities to touchdowns. So I think that they're going to be able to turn over Kirk Cousins. I think that they're going to be able to get some pressure and ultimately just wear out this Atlanta team. So I'm on you with the Bucs there.
Yep.
What about in the props market? Where are we going in this one?
Yeah, let's start with the Bucs side of things. Give me Bucky Irving's over 62.5 rushing yards. If we look at the Falcons rush defense, this would have hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They give up a shit ton of yards to the running back, around 100 yards a game. I don't really care that Bucky Irving is splitting carries with Rachaad White. I think this is Bucky Irving's offense now that he's been back for a couple of weeks. So give me Bucky Irving over 62.5 rushing yards. From a Falcons side of things, oh yeah, the auto play. Mike Evans is probable. He's playing. Go ahead and give me his anytime touchdown right now. It's plus 170 over on DraftKings. At DraftKings. Wow. Yeah. All right. Might as well hit that one now.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Auto play at 170 to give me that one. But yeah, on the Falcons side of things, I do think that the Falcons can attack this Bucs defense through the passing game. And you mentioned it, Drake London's going to be out. So I think it's going to be Kirk Cousins, the drop-off king, dumping it off to either Bijan Robinson, or I think Kyle Pitts can get plenty of volume in this one. So give me Kirk Cousins over 204.5 passing yards. And like I said, I think he's going to dump it off to Bijan. So give me his over 37.5 and Kyle Pitts is over 55 or 58.5. I know that's a pretty big number for Kyle Pitts, but he doesn't have Drake London out there. And Kyle Pitts has been getting a fair amount of volume over the last couple of weeks. So I think he's averaged like 6 or 7 catches over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, give me Bijan's over receiving yards, Pitts over receiving yards, and Cousins over passing yards for the Falcons.
Yeah, and sorry, I usually don't like to do this, but it is plus 170 still at DraftKings. I just had to get some money on that before that changed because that's insane. Yeah. That is absurd. Yeah. That's their goal line back essentially. So basically, I love that. All right, yeah, I'll start off with the one I agree with for you. Other than the Mike Evans, we'll go Bijan over 37.5 receiving yards. I have him at 36.5. That was yesterday, so it might be a little updated. I'm okay with it at 37.5. Yeah. I think he has himself a day. Last time these two teams played, he went for 6 receptions on 7 targets, 100 receiving yards. Yep. Again, he's kind of a little bit boomer bust in this, but he has great boom potential. He's hit this. If you got the 36.5, it would be 3 out of the last 4 games he's hit this. This is one. I've got 2 that I'm going to be working the ladder here. Bijan receiving yards is one that I am going to be playing on the ladder. I like him, whether it's obviously the 36.5, then the 50, 60, 70, like I'm taking that up. I'll probably be sprinkling all the way up to 100, but I would say responsibly up to 70. He gets there for early consistency. All right, then moving on. I think I talked about it. I think both these guys are susceptible to turning the ball over. Yep. They've struggled with turnovers. Looking at Kirk Cousins, he had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions in the last game. Against the Saints, he had an interception. The only team he didn't have an interception at, he started 3 games. He's thrown an interception in 2. The only game he hasn't had an interception was against the Jets. The Jets have exactly 0 interceptions on the season. So that is not a Kirk Cousins thing. That is a Jets inability to get an interception thing. Yep. His number, minus 122 over on FanDuel, is the best I'm seeing right now. I also like Baker. I'm going to do them in a little bit of a parlay. I'm taking Cousins alone, and I'm also taking Baker and Cousins at plus 262 on the parlay there for both of them to throw an interception on a nice little sloppy Thursday night game. And then, so on Bijan, on the interception angle, I'm also on David Sills. Actually, I'll save him for my little bit of some Degen plays. Okay. But the way I'm attacking the Bucs offense, the way that I think that you can get some value here, I'm on the Baker rushing angle. Give me Baker over 16.5 rushing yards. Its last couple games here, he's gone 6 for 42, 6 for 27, 4 for 19, and 5 for 39. Those are his last 4 games. He's hit that very easily. Numbers only set at 16.5. I like when people have this angle that, oh, it's a short week, or, oh, they're kind of banged up, they're not going to run. You can't tease that out of a football player. We saw it with Justin Herbert. There was a lot of people saying with the broken hand, he's not going to run.
And then he was like shoving guys off of him.
Exactly. It's football. Jackson Dart. Oh, he has concussions. He's not going to run. The dude's a psychopath. He's going to run. Like, you cannot change how these guys play. This is a do or die opportunity. So I'm on Baker over 16.5 rush yards, minus 111. I'm on Baker 5+ rush attempts. That is plus 140. He's hit that in 3 out of the last 4 games. And then I also like Baker to go on a little bit of a rushing ladder props here. Those are Bijan and Baker are the ladders that I'm playing in this one. I think both of them have opportunities. Baker is consistently the last couple of weeks, he's gone, 42, 27, 19, 39. So 2 very close to 40. Those are kind of where I'll be taking it up to, maybe 50. Can you get a nice juicy number there? Do you have any Degen plays for us before I ramble on too much?
I do not in this one.
Don't worry, because I have some. So I'll get it for both of us. All right. So there is a guy on the Atlanta Falcons named David Sills. Yes. I'm very familiar with David Sills.
I might have a little bit of something on David Sills, but not degenerate enough.
Look, as a New York Football Giants fan, David Sills, he was kind of like a training camp warrior. He was, on the team for several years, yada, yada, yada. Came from West Virginia. Reliable target, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the past.
Oh, he's gone. I don't know what happened. But David Sills is an absolute stud coming over from the Giants training camp there. There he is. He's back.
Oh boy, I don't know how long did I cut out for? That's sorry about that. David Sills. Yes. Anyway, love him on the Giants. Reliable target. These are his last 3 stat lines with Kirk Cousins. He went 3 for 16 with a touchdown, 4 for 15 yards with a touchdown, and then on 4 targets, 0 catches, obviously 0 touchdowns. So he is one of his top targets for whatever reason. Yeah. Darnell Mooney has been put in the locker, wherever it may be. So I'm going to start with David Sills under 23.5 receiving yards. That was over at DraftKings, minus 115. He has not hit that number at all since he has been on this team. So I don't understand why it's that high. He does get targets and receptions, but obviously it's very dunk-off stuff. The other thing I'm going to do with this, we're going to take David Sills anytime touchdown, plus 550 on its own. Okay. That is something that's hit in 2 out of the last 3 games with Kirk Cousins starting. Okay. And if we want to get crazy and combine them, and you take Sills anytime touchdown under 21.5 receiving yards over on Bet365.
Okay.
That is 27-1.
Okay.
If you want to be a real degenerate and add the Bucs money line, which we both think is going to happen.
Yep.
45-1 there. Okay. So with a little bit of the reverse correlation all over the place. I'm on Sills, obviously, to get in the end zone, but to not get a ton of yardage. That's where I'm going to be playing it from this angle. And the last little Degen thing I have to throw out there is Drummond there for the Falcons. He's a guy who's been seeing, he had 5 targets last week. Dylan Drummond, number 81, 3 catches for 21 yards. Then in the game before, he had 3 targets, 3 catches for 18. He's a guy that's going to be out there, and his anytime touchdown price on FanDuel is plus 850. So I think you get some value there. Obviously, I'm spraying the board a bit with this one with some of those higher risk, high reward plays. But as a little recap, we're both on the Bucs minus 4.5. We're both on Mike Evans anytime touchdown. Insane. That is getting close to a 2-1 price. Yep. We're both on Bijan receiving. You're on Bucky on the rushing side. Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins passing and receiving respectively on their overs. And then I'm on Baker rushing, Bijan receiving. Both these guys throwing an interception. And giving the David Sills to score, but not get a lot of receiving yards. Okay. I think we've done enough. We've done what we could to equip these folks with ammunition to go to war against the sports books this week. Why don't you tell the people what do you got for them before we get on out of here?
Yeah, talking about ammunition and war, I mean, we got a big one coming up Saturday. It's America's game, Army, Navy. We just recorded that episode a couple nights ago on Monday. You definitely want to check out that. We did a little bit of a recap on what our thoughts were on the college football playoff as well. But you want to check that one out. And then you still have your injury report episode coming out tomorrow night over on IDP Plus. So that way, us fantasy nerds have our lineup set and ready to roll for the fantasy football playoffs that are have started at this point. We got to lock up some chips here.
This week, yeah, I will biasly say, as a active duty member of the military, one of my favorite games, Army Navy. We talk history, we talk uniforms. It's a very fun episode. I really enjoyed it. So hopefully you guys do as well. So check that out. We also give out some college football reactions, talk about some future bets we like there, and best bets for the Army Navy game. There is some opportunity to get down there. And as Derek said, yeah, I'll do the injury report tomorrow night. Hey, look, folks, we don't ask for a lot. On an incredible run. We understand it can't last forever, but we're hoping you're profiting and winning with us here. Again, 22-6 on props and best bets, where we advise you to put the majority of your money and your bankroll when we talk about these shows. Insane pace. We're hoping to keep it up. We really like the board this week. All we ask for, simple like and subscribe. We're getting very close to 900 subscribers. The goal is 1K for the year to make the bosses and us happy. You guys have been an awesome, awesome audience this year. Comment us your favorite plays, what you think we're crazy about. If you liked Nova and my cat's appearance on the screen, whatever it may be, we love to chop it up in the comments. But you know what they say, folks. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the Degen Docs, we've got your prescription from Professor Locks and Doc here on DFSG Plus. We are Go Army, beat Navy. Out of here.